Good morning from the Great Loop. Today is cruising day number 5 for us. We'll be going through St. Augustine. We woke up to something quite alarming this morning. Thankfully we're in 10 foot of water because this is all shoaly right here. Sorry that the lighting's not the best. It's very early in the morning. You can see there's an opening over here and an opening behind us because we're at the T of the Matanzas Inlet. Look at this. You see the fort down there? We were anchored in front of that, on the other side of that sign. You can see the 2 poles. So kind of where that, just in front of that sign, not too far, is where we were anchored. Yeah, a little sketchy. So we dragged, according to Aquamap, a half mile. We clearly didn't have enough chain out. And what's interesting is we've been here for a few days, so this just happened on the last night, and we were just talking last night about how we didn't take the tidal change into effect because we set the anchor at low tide, and we didn't take the tide change into effect, and we were glad that the anchor still held and we didn't have any issues. But yeah, overnight, went to bed last night, and we were down there, woke up this morning here, anchor alarm. Quite crazy. It's also interesting that the anchor alarm did not go off. So I've had issues with the Aquamap anchor. I did the screen mirroring, and it just continuously does not work between my phone and the tablet. Even though the tablet's on the boat with Starlink, it has internet, it just keeps erroring out. Even when I'm like really close, it just errors out. So I couldn't really monitor the anchor alarm while we were, hiking ashore. While we were asleep, it's plugged in, got the anchor alarm going, nothing. In fact, I checked it this morning and it said that we were only 124 feet. I was like, that can't be right. So I backed out of Aquamap, opened it back up, and it took a little while to load. Yeah, 0.5 nautical miles we dragged. Insane. Time to do our morning checks. Luckily, everything's good. I checked the depth already. We're in like 8 foot of water because they're shoaling, 200 feet from us that we could have dragged into. So luckily, everything seems to be okay. And we have a rising tide on our favor. So if we were to be aground a little bit, we got the tide coming up in the next few hours. But time to get the engine checks done so we can get underway and hit St. Augustine today. Now we have a 3.5 foot draft, so we're okay, but yeah, kind of crazy. I can see it better in the daylight. There's the fort we were by. Now we're in the channel. I'm gonna go ahead and use the maps here, Aquamap and Argo, to go back over towards this side, because I know it's deep over there where the channel is. There's a bob track, side track to go to this fort. Okay, navigating my way back over to Bob's tracks. Now we were sitting at like 10, 11 foot of water, but it is dead high tide right now. It's 7 a.m. and this is high tide, so it's pretty much slack. I'm so glad that the anchor dragged going this direction instead of the other way, like towards the inlet, because the National Park Service dock was within a half a mile. So if we would have dragged the same distance the other way, we could have dragged them to their dock last night. So pretty wild. I mean, we experienced multiple tidal changes. So the boat swung numerous times, but for whatever reason, this time it came undone. And when we pulled the anchor up, it came up so easily. Normally, like it grabs a few times and the winch kind of bogs down. You can hear like, like it's struggling. No struggling to pull the anchor up this morning, and it was super clean. So it definitely come unlodged at one of our 180s, which if I remember right, it was 7 p.m. was high tide, 1 a.m. was low tide, and then 7 a.m. is high tide. That's how it's been approximately the last couple of days that we're here. So, woo, crazy. I'm so glad that worked out and everything is okay. It was a little nerve-wracking when I woke up, I won't lie. The first thing I did was come up here, look around the spotlight, because it was like 5:30 in the morning, and turn on my depth finder to see if we were sitting on the bottom or not. Thankfully, we weren't.
It's all fun and it's all game. Goes to hell, no one's to blame. I think think I've seen this happen once before. I don't wanna see it anymore. When you think you've had enough, here comes another one. When you think you've had enough, here comes another one. Stumbling up the steps and through the door. I don't think I could take too many more. Another trying to make it down, another sucker on the vine, another slacker trying to get off cheap. I'm just trying to get a good night's sleep. When you think you've had enough, here comes another one. When you think you've had enough, here comes another one. Here comes another one.
Right here? This is fabulous.
Made it to St. Augustine. We're anchored right by Castillo de San Marcos. We're right by the Bridge of Lions. Remember, this is a GoPro kind of lens, so very wide angle. So we're pretty close. Pretty awesome. We're gonna go over to the city marina on the other side of the bridge, pay the dinghy dock fee, which is I think 15 bucks, and then we can use their laundry. And then from there, head into town to go out to eat. We haven't been out to eat since we started the loop. Also gonna see if we can check out anything cool in St. Augustine. I've already done the Pirate Museum, but if you're coming through and haven't done it, it's pretty cool, especially if you have younger kids. The St. Augustine Pirate Museum has the only authentic pirate chest ever recovered, which just so happens to be Thomas II's, whom I'm named after. I'm a descendant from his brother, who was the lieutenant governor of the colonies of Rhode Island. My mother was a II, and I was always told that I was named after him. But it wasn't until I was an adult that I looked into my ancestry myself and was able to confirm it. He's my great-great-great-great uncle, and the reason we fly his flag on Swamp Puppy. I've loved the water from a young age, and like Thomas II, I'm known for my charisma and being a fair leader. When he told his crew he wanted to turn to piracy, they responded with, "A gold chain or a wooden leg will stand with you." II had one of the most successful pirate cruises in history, amassing a large amount of wealth, which I unfortunately didn't inherit. We're going to go in and check out the fort because I don't think Elise has done that before. This is my third time to St. Augustine, first time by boat. I came via RV the first time, and of course checked out the Pirate Museum. And then Elise and I came through in our Ogre, our camper van, I think last year, and did the Pirate Museum again. So we're not going to do the Pirate Museum this time. Time to drop this dinghy. Mantis is doing great. Really loving the dinghy. It's so stable. I wish we had a little bit more horsepower. With two people, with one person it's fine, gets up on plane and scoots everywhere. But I think if we had a 20 horse, because we have a 15, with two of us, we might be able to get up on plane. Because otherwise we could only go like 9-10 miles an hour. But that's how it goes. We've been here for 2.5 hours and the anchor has held great. But we just don't trust it because of what happened this morning, waking up a half mile away. So before we go to shore, I have this screen mirroring. So it should send it to my phone. It is currently working, but the other day it was like very buggy and wasn't really working. And then I also did this. So our security camera, I have one of them pointing directly at it. So essentially I can see the screen via the camera. So if it stops, mirroring, at least I can check on the security camera because the screen won't time out. It's plugged in and everything. So I think we're going to be just fine. It's just, this is how we're going to check on it.
Okay. Okay.
Another trying to make it down, another sucker on the vine, another slacker trying to get off cheap. I'm just trying to get a good night's sleep. When you think you've had enough, here comes another one. When you think you've had enough, here comes another one. Here comes another one. Here comes another one. Stumbling up the steps and through the door. Don't think I could take too many more.
This corner. That way it's easy to peel. Of course, we stopped for Mexican food for lunch, which was absolutely fantastic. Would highly recommend stopping by there. Then we walked over to the National Monument, which is really close. And you can see we anchored really close to the National Monument, just north of it on the west side of the bay. There's also an anchorage on the other side of the channel on the east side of the little bay there, north of the Bridge of Lions. If you're into history at all, in my opinion, St. Augustine is a must stop because after all, St. Augustine is the oldest continuously inhabited European established settlement in the United States. You know, it was settled by Spain in 1565, which is pretty wild. And Florida and the fort itself there at St. Augustine, which of course the fort has changed names a few times, but was actually controlled by 4 different governments and exchanged hands like 5 times, all peaceful. Spain originally had it, then the Kingdom of Great Britain, then Spain again during a second time period for, let's see, another 40 years or so, and then the United States had it. So pretty cool, a lot of history there. In fact, the fort itself was used up until I think like 1933. So the fort has a ton of history along with St. Augustine. Definitely a must stop. While the anchor alarm was going off, I checked the security camera and it says we moved like 25 feet. So gotta go just check on the boat. We set off from the city marina and went back underneath the Bridge of Lions, which is such a cool bridge. Take the time to look at it and check it out when you're going through this area. It's just a neat and unique bridge. But on the way over to Swamp Puppy, we knew that if we drifted too far back, we might get into like a little sandbar that was on the left side or to the rear of Swamp Puppy. And so it moving 25 feet kind of worried us, especially after it had drug a half mile that morning. So we were a little kind of overly cautious about everything and went back to the boat. In hindsight, I think it would have been just fine. I think I just didn't have the proximity set correctly on the anchor alarm, and then it wasn't actually dragging. Regardless, at the time, we were worried about it, so we moved the boat over to the north side of the bay, set the hook again, made sure everything felt good, and then headed back over to the marina and went and got some groceries. On our way back from getting the groceries, we seen a sailboat come through. Okay, it was a motorboat that looked like a sailboat, and it had a ton of people on board. I think it was like a sunset cruise thing going on, and this fun like pirate ship thing pulled up in front of the fort and, you know, kind of attacked it, which was kind of a neat little thing to see. We had a successful grocery haul. Look at this. So much stuff. Time to get it from the little boat onto the big boat. After about 10 days on board, we definitely needed groceries. You can see the fridge was looking mighty bare, but we got plenty of groceries. Everything was good. And then we just basically enjoyed the evening. We watched a little pirate ship go back through the Bridge of Lions, listened to it honk a few times throughout the night, and try to just settle in once a lot of the wake had settled down and everyone went to bed. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed and that you have the bell rung for notifications. That way you'll get notified when a new video comes out, because unfortunately YouTube doesn't always show all of our subscribers a video. Until we see you in the next one, take care.